Welcome back to theCUBE. We are here at the NYSE studio of theCUBE. I'm John Furrier, your host. Of course, we have our Palo Alto studio, connecting Silicon Valley and Wall Street, tech and money. Technology is the market we're in, and this is our Mixture of Experts series. Like, who is here? She is the founder of Women in GenAI, as well as many other entrepreneurial endeavors. She really kind of encapsulates the trend that we're seeing, where technology and the capital markets are coming together, very tightly coupled. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you,
Saw
John.
your photos on LinkedIn. You were at NRF.
Yes.
Which we've been covering in depth this week. Good to see you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
So I saw a picture of Ray Wang, Alison Wagenfeld, who's now the new CMO of Google. I mean, not Google, she was the CMO of Google, now she's the CMO of NVIDIA, friend of theCUBE. That's NVIDIA's first CMO.
Yes.
She's got to be super excited by that.
Yeah, we're super excited for her. We celebrated her. We treated her with a cake and a candle at 12 midnight when the announcement was made.
It's a great hire for NVIDIA. I love the Women in Gen AI. Tell about the founding of that, when it was started. You're starting to see AI certainly democratizing everything, and the tech is the utility is being used by everybody. So talk about the founding of this group, status, where it's at, and some of the data.
Yeah, thank you. So I started this initiative. It was initially called AI Venture back in 2018, where I worked a lot with women venture capitalists like Heidi Royce, and it was the first women venture capitalist, Lila Tretico, who's now heading up AI at NEA, as former deputy CTO of Microsoft, and others, Jean English, whom I worked for over a decade, right from the time when she was at IBM to NetApp and other companies like Juniper, who's now CMO of CoreWeave. So it's been great. Also Shell Lugarg at Microsoft. So a number of amazing women in the field whom I've had the opportunity to work with over the decade. We kind of created this environment where we could help other women, and we had a series of panels and entrepreneurship activities. I launched an AI accelerator with Microsoft for startups back in the days when Shell Lugarg was there, focused on AI for good and responsible AI, incubated startups like Credo AI. I brought in their first seed investment, their first $5.5 million from John Sakota of Decibel, who was at NEA, as well as Ann Duane at Willage Global. And then Reid Hoffman followed in as an investor, and Andrew Ng was also involved. So been very involved in incubating these startups from scratch.
A lot of CUBE alumni on that list. In fact, one trivia stat is that Jean English was the first guest on the CUBE at the NYSE. So when we came here about a year and a half ago, she was at Juniper at the time. She was our first guest. So, all right, here we go. So congratulations. So what's the mission of the group? Is it a collective? Is it a loose collective? Is it a formal group? But explain how it's organized and the mission.
Yeah, thank you. And I love that Jean English was the first guest at NYSE. She's one of my favorite people in the world. And of course, my boss at various companies that I worked at, and so excited for her new chapter with CoreWeave. It was one of the most exciting IPOs of this year, right?
And they get the whole neocloud segments booming, so that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, she's a great.
Yeah, so we did a lot of, back to your question, like Women of GenAI, we've very, very much, it's all been about helping women. If you look at like the last 100 years, so many things have changed with people like Ruth Bader Ginsburg changing the laws. Like just about 100 years ago, or less than 100 years ago, we had the right to vote, right? Like, and in other countries less than 100 years ago, or the right to like sign a mortgage without a man, buy a house without a man. Or in Saudi Arabia now, more recently, the right to drive, or, and still in places like Afghanistan, women can't, we can't show our face, can't, like with the Taliban reversing things now. So there's so many things that still are changing, and now we have women like, the first woman CEO of Chanel, who's of Indian heritage, right, Lena? And people like Indra Nooyi, also is with Kirtika Reddy the other day, who reminds me of Indra Nooyi. So people like this who really are breaking glass ceilings.
Exactly, and also the entrepreneurship with AI has changed. I just wrote a post on Substack about founder mode and how AI is changing that. The speed of velocity to get a startup up and running is lowering the bar of entry, but the creativity is going to be based upon the human, the entrepreneur. So opportunity recognition is now open for everybody. You don't have to be a tech bro and go to Y Combinator or do that. It's completely wide open. You're seeing a lot more women VC firms. We had a panel in Palo Alto of all women VCs. So you're starting to see good momentum. Still a lot more work to do. What's been some of the reactions and some of the momentum? Can you share some other stats in terms of like some things that you're observing around the Valley, New York, some of these hotbed areas? You're starting to see a lot more community.
Yeah, totally. And the stats are interesting because if you look at the number of, and someone that really calls it out well, like Kevin O'Leary, whom I met personally last year, was telling me about how like he really believes in investing in women entrepreneurs because they do, statistically, when he looks at the numbers, they give him ROI.
Yeah, the data doesn't lie.
The data doesn't lie, yes.
Yeah, the results are there.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think women make decisions with emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And that's important, like ultimately understanding human. Even Satya Nadella has quoted recently, like emotional intelligence is the number one thing you need as a CEO.
Yeah.
We need more women CEOs. One of my favorite people in the world who, Nancy Wang, she's going to be CEO of a unicorn.
She's a CUBE alumni.
Oh, she is.
When she was at Amazon, she's done multiple times.
Oh, yeah, she was a GM. She was the youngest GM at Amazon, yes.
Great, she's awesome. Again, you have these power women. This is, to me, I think, a big story that's not told very often, and that is that the democratization of the technology. And I was just saying on the balcony when we were ringing the opening bell, watching the ringing of the bell, the utility of AI is enabling superpowers. And that's indiscriminate on who's driving it.
Yep.
So this is the superpower. I think it's going to change the game, and I think the numbers might change. And we'll do as much content with you and get the word out. We did it with a panel with women in GSA, the Global Semiconductor Association. I mean, I think that was a one day, we did 12 interviews. I don't think I said women in tech once, because they were just really good at tech. And so it wasn't the fact that they were a woman, it was that they were good, but it was all women. And so you're starting to see the leveling up with AI, because AI will allow people to get in the game quicker.
Yep. Yeah, totally. And I think it's so important, of course, we have this community of women, but we also want men who are supportive of that, who help, empower other female leaders. And it's so important to have that sponsorship at work. I know, like, a lot of great, amazing, one of my friends was this former CEO of OpenAI, interim CEO, Emmett Shear, who's the founder of Twitch. Who's also a great, supporter of the initiatives we do, the Women of GenAI.
We owe Emmett and the team at Twitch huge props, because if it wasn't for Justin TV, which became Twitch, theCUBE would not have existed. So Justin Kahn, Emmett Schmier, Kevin, you guys, appreciate it. Again, those guys built a massive business.
Yes.
But they're open. Again, they had the same philosophy. And then obviously gaming, streaming obviously kicked in. That was huge. Are there other, that's my question for you is, what's the vibe in the entrepreneurial circles? We're in 2026, okay? We've been doing theCUBE for 16 years. We've seen many of the cycles with theCUBE, personally, as well as before then, Web 2.0, Web 1.0. It seems like the vibe in San Francisco's changed a lot. How would you describe the entrepreneurial vibe? Because it seems like the tech bro era has come and gone, but there's still a lot of tech bro vibe. What's your reaction to, if someone asks, what's the scene like in San Francisco?
Yeah, it's interesting. The tech bro era, that's an interesting term. There's a joke.
I'm going to get in trouble for that, tech bro. No, but I mean, it was very broy.
They used to call it Man Jose instead of San Jose, like back in the days.
Yeah, but it was very tech bro-y. I mean, it was. I mean, that's kind of factual, but I think now is a lot more collaborative. It seems collaborative right now. There's a ton of activity. San Francisco's back.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad, but the crime's down. Still a lot more work to do. But what's the vibe in San Francisco? How would you describe that?
I think San Francisco, there's more collaboration. You have more women in the room now. And I think initially when I got there back in the years, about a decade ago, I wanted to blend in. I tried to wear, t-shirt and a hoodie and just blend in. Now you could just really, there's more women in the room.
Exactly.
You have CEOs like Yamini, CEO of HubSpot, others like that, or Vasu Jakal, Christine Heckart, like people like that, or CEOs. Who have a seat at the table, who are kind of making room for the next generation.
There's a lot of mentorship too, and I think you mentioned male involvement. There's a lot more men leaning in and being part of it too.
Yeah.
Has that changed at all?
That is, definitely. That has been immensely, immensely important. Sponsorship, because you have two things: you have mentors and sponsors. Like, how can you? And I've written an article back in the days on Forbes about how important it is for women, especially, to have that earlier in your career, and it all starts with, kind of giving before you get. How can you add value to the other person? I remember, I had a one-on-one a long time ago with the CEO of Forbes, and I kind of went in with, how can I help you? And he was like, this is one of the few meetings where someone came in with, how can I, help you, versus asking me for something. And this is so refreshing.
I mean, community is so important. If you look at the surge of open source, a lot of these communities, or these micro communities, some are calling them, have great cohesion, but also you have to give to get.
Totally.
And there's a nice informal protocol developing around this. You're starting to see it. You mentioned you helping companies get started, helping companies get funding.
Yeah.
That's kind of normal in Silicon Valley, but the demographics were usually men, right? Or how would you describe that experience when you were helping companies get funding? I mean, I remember when John Sudoka left NEA to start Decibel, because I worked with him at NEA. He's done an amazing job at Decibel, okay? And he's now got a full-blown firm. They're doing highly successful. His thesis was strong. But it's hard to start. So like for people who want to start, a lot more solo GPs are coming out. So you see, is that getting traction? I've seen a lot more women leading their own deals, putting SPVs together. So a lot more access. So it seems like things are breaking through.
Yeah, totally. I think, like a few women that I worked with, Jalak Chabanpotra is one. She started Future Perfect Ventures. She has her own fund, and she just invested in a round that I helped curate, which with the Informatica founder, who took his last company public on NYSE at $8 billion. So she just put in some money.
Now part of Salesforce, big customer of theCUBE, and we love their events.
Also Rashida Hodge, a CVP of Microsoft, whom I worked at IBM Watson back in the days. One of my favorite people. She also just invested in a round here, and that's really exciting as they rebranded to Da Vinci.
Okay, so share your goals for the organization. Again, you're doing a lot of things in addition to that on the entrepreneurial side, funding side. What are some of the goals you have for Women of GenAI? Share for the folks watching what you're working on. What are the key things you're focused on?
Yeah, I've been really focused on over the years helping women entrepreneurs, incubating companies. So Credo was one example. Navrina was a female founder, and kind of partnering with her in the early days and bringing in that fundraising round. Because the number of women who actually raise venture capital is relatively low if you look at the statistics. Also, most recently, I incubated another company from scratch. It was my company, the AI Foundation. I stepped in as their interim interim president to run it, and I partnered with their CEO, and I brought in. It was funded by Founders Fund, Peter Thiel, Chanel Family Office, and a bunch of investors like that. I incubated a new company from scratch, focused on AI sales agents from there, and now they raised another 40 million, first a $5 million round, and another 40 million, so that's valued way about hundreds. So I've been very focused on helping female entrepreneurs, and I brought in a women CEO there as well, so very, for me it's very important to see women leadership.
How do people get involved? How do people get involved? They just hit you up on LinkedIn? Is there a site? What's the engagement strategy? How can people get involved?
Yes, feel free to, hit me up on LinkedIn, and would love to collaborate. I I host a lot of things like panels. I host CXO and CEO forums. I also did one with Juniper and Microsoft, Google, SWB, Salesforce. They've been sponsors, great supporters, like the founder, interim CEO of OpenAI as well.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of pay it forward. What's really nice, I like, in this vibe is, in the AI vibe, there's a pay it forward vibe, there's a society vibe, in the sense of there's a bigger picture. It seems like if you go back maybe 2 cycles ago, say Web 2.0, it's all about money making. Now, granted, I'm not allergic to money making. Believe me, I love making money. But there's more higher goals. What would you say to that? What's your reaction to that? Do you agree that people are kind of thinking differently around how to align with bigger objectives than just money making?
Yeah, I think people are definitely trying to align with making, like every company right now is trying to make their company AI native and automate everything. And I think even if indirectly that does contribute to becoming money making, because your ROI is higher, you're doing more with less, and you're kind of really becoming a profitable company that way. How can you like automate tests and have your own AI personal assistant?
So I have to ask, since you're in the trenches, you're spinning up ventures, you're partnering, you're teaming up with other entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, capital markets, so you're kind of at the intersection of the tech build out, ideation, opportunity recognition, and value creation and capture. Has the equation changed with AI? Because one of the things we're seeing is you can get acceleration faster once you get in. And we're seeing that Jensen Huang said many times on stage and seeing his speeches and one-on-ones with him. You got to adopt it, get going, then the flywheel kicks in. That seems to be the recurring pattern in AI and with startups. Once you can get to escape velocity faster. That seems to be the kind of the general thesis and reaction. What's your take on the founding equation, starting a company? What's changed? What's the same? What's different?
I think in terms of founding a company, it's like having a baby. It's like your baby. Yeah. And I think there's more venture capital money for AI. I feel like more female founders are coming now, and that's been my mission, to help female founders kind of grow and help them get funded and see them to the next. And I've had quite a huge success rate on that, specifically working with female founders. And
what's your observation? You're at NRF. You're seeing a lot of things. What's your take on the tech scene right now in terms of, there's a lot of people that are learning. I mean, smart people that aren't in AI don't even know what hallucination means, and they hear buzzwords like AI factory or agentic infrastructure. Certainly the semiconductors, NVIDIA stock is leading the market. We can see them on the board every day here on the options side. What is your take on the tech scene right now in terms of bubble, no bubble, real, what's not, what should people know about? What's just your general opinion?
That's a great question. I think there's a lot of potential, like NVIDIA was leading the charge on this, and so excited. Alison Wagenbald is their first ever CMO. Yeah. It was like 2 days ago. We celebrated her with a cake and a candle after we did this last year in Saudi as well at her birthday at 12 midnight. So we repeated the tradition, and we were talking about this. Yeah.
We're always traveling on our birthdays. It seems funny. My birthday's always at reInvent. Allison's is always in the middle of events. Yeah. It's like we're on the road warriors.
Yeah, and I think there's so much happening, even with NVIDIA's partnership with CoreWeave, and also generative AI for different areas, like even generative AI for marketing, and the Informatica founder will talk more about that. But I think there's so many solutions in making companies AI native and tech driven, and also like the Boxable CEO is going to take his company public soon. He's also making his company AI native, and we have
every vertical. They're making homes. That's going to solve a lot of homeless problems. Going to help people get home ownership. Yeah. Who would have thought that's an AI company? Everything's AI native.
Yeah, I just also introduced him to a board member who's joining, who's going to help make the company AI native, and a CTO.
Nice.
So exciting that even companies in other areas like real estate are trying to make their companies more AI native.
Well, great to have you on. I love what you do, super support your mission. Looking forward to making content together with you. Certainly panels will share and amplify that. Thanks for coming on, our mixture of experts, and we'll get the word out. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. I'm John Furrier, theCUBE. We are here at our NYSE studio, part of the NYSE Wired program, a CUBE original program that we started with the NYSE Brian Bauman and team, building a network, an open network of entrepreneurs to share their stories, but also get the word out, and also collaborate with others. It's a collaborative market. The ecosystems are a part of all the new ventures. They're happening faster. They're going, the time to value, escape velocity with AI is making it go faster. So it's an opportunity for all. And of course, we're doing our part to bring that to you. Thanks for watching.